Bitcoin's seen a nice little run up the last couple of days. We're at levels we haven't seen since early March. But why? Why is this happening now? What's going on that's making Bitcoin pump? We're going to talk about that today. But remember, every single day in crypto is an adventure. Join me along for the journey. Hit the subscribe button now. New videos every single day. Maybe I take a Saturday off once in a while, but hit the subscribe button. I'd greatly appreciate it. And with that, let's get into talking about the price of Bitcoin, why it's important, and what I see going on next and how I'm taking advantage of it. Let's take a look at this. This is where we are today. Bitcoin is gone up. We're at around 80. I think we just hit 88,000, 87,000 and change. And we bounced off 88. And so we're above that floor of support around 84,000. We busted above that yesterday, Sunday, March 22nd. Today is Monday, March 23rd. You might not be watching this on that day, but it's important to see how this is going. So as you can see from the back on the March 11th, we bounced off about 76 and change, and we're up about 15% from that low. So for those of you who bought the dip over here, congratulations. That was smart. Maybe take some profits along the way up. But let's talk about why we're there. So yesterday, there's a whole slew of news that comes out all the time. But yesterday, there's a couple interesting things. The first one being Michael Saylor. Michael Saylor goes yesterday in a post on Sunday morning, goes, need more orange. And these oranges are where he's bought. Okay. So if you look, he's bought all along, and he's bought a lot well above where we are now. And so he says, needs more orange. Well, the orange represents his purchases. So this might be signaling, his way of signaling that strategy is going to be buying Bitcoin today. So if they do that, obviously people want to front run that trade, get in before Michael Saylor does and buys who knows how much he's going to buy. They own, was it $42 billion worth of Bitcoin? That's a lot of money. That's a lot of Bitcoin. That's a lot of Bitcoin. So this plays heavily in what a lot of people are doing, probably is what he's doing. Now, remember, he buys when he gets, he raises money and buys. So, getting above or in front of him might be a good idea. Not financial advice, not, this is certainly not financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor. Do your own research. But this is something that made me throw a trade on yesterday. Well, this and a couple other things I'll show you. Now, if you look at the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index, the sentiment is way better than it was a couple days ago. If you look down here, we were at 20, which we hadn't seen that low since like the depths of the recession. We went to 15, not 20, sorry. Right between these 2 days, somewhere around there, 15. We went to 15. Now we're at a 45 now. So a lot better sentiment. Now, how did that change so quickly? It's probably all these little things that add up. Maybe people are sinking in that our government is very pro Bitcoin, and statements have been made about get as much Bitcoin as you can by government officials. So these things weigh heavily on the investor's mind, and they make decisions based on it. Bitcoin dominance. Someone said recently that Bitcoin dominance was going down. Not true. It's going up. It's gone up almost 1%. Look at this. We are at a realm we haven't seen since January or March of 2021. Going back 4 years, we're at the highest Bitcoin dominance we've seen in 4 years. So Bitcoin is the winner in this cycle. It's. I mean, obviously, I know that some have won more in the percentage gain, but Bitcoin in volume gained has been winning the battle in this go round. Liquidation levels, not a lot of short liquidation above us. A lot of longs below us. These longs can be liquidated if the market retracts a bit. These shorts are going to be liquidated if the market goes up. So I don't know. I think we'll probably be seeing some deleveraging of these trades. But this is a little scary for me because there's a lot going on here where exchanges might want to capture that liquidity before we move up. The liquidity has shifted farther up. Those long liquidations were farther back before. So this is a good sign that the market is moving up. And this goes to the sentiment that people are not shorting Bitcoin right now because they think it's going to continue to go up. That could prove problematic, for these longs, possibly if the market dips back down before it goes back up. But there's so much bullish stuff right here. I'm not betting on the market going down. I never bet against Bitcoin. I rarely ever short Bitcoin. Now look at my face is upside down. Why am I upside down? Let's rotate that. There we go. So all in all, these pieces bode very well for an increase. You can talk about the dollar strength going down, but it's actually going back up. You can talk about M2 supply, but the last reading we have is from January, and the M2 supply was going up, went up at the end of 2024, but it's kind of leveled out. If you look at the January numbers, they're pretty much in line with the December numbers. So I can't really blame M2. Maybe that money's starting to shift towards crypto. We hear a lot of talk about M2, and I can't tell you that it's because of the M2. Crude oil prices have gone back up a little bit, probably due to the uncertainty in the markets. But the reality is that, things like this. I talked yesterday about the IMF. If you go look at IMF and Bitcoin, well, there was a lot of talk yesterday. I did some videos about it. The IMF talked about, they have stated that Bitcoin is digital gold. They did not say that. There's 1,000 pages in this document. I ran them all through ChatGPT. Nowhere did they say Bitcoin is digital gold. They basically gave it a commodity rating. And let's see, IMF new rules. If you want to check out it for yourself, check out IMF's BPM7. They add Bitcoin and crypto to global money tracking. That's what they did. Because this SPM7, what this does is it sets a base foundation for global payments and global standards of accounting and things like that. So everyone can be on the same page when they look at, when they analyze a company from a different country, they should all be at the same standards. IMF is setting these standards, but I don't believe before that they had crypto involved in those standards, but now they have a whole chapter to talk about crypto and Bitcoin and things like that. So they do mention Bitcoin by name. So that is very promising that they're acknowledging this, because remember, just a couple weeks back, they were trying to get El Salvador to quit using Bitcoin and quit buying Bitcoin. They wouldn't give them money unless they did, but now it looks like they're adopting it. So more global adoption is very strong for Bitcoin. So all these things, you have the American government very, very pro-Bitcoin. You have Michael Saylor potentially buying more Bitcoin. You've got the IMF acknowledging Bitcoin and including it in their global standardization of financing and accounting. So all these things, very bullish for Bitcoin. What did I do about it? So yesterday, I put on a little trade. If I go down to the 1 minute, let's see. I put on a trade. I went long Bitcoin. I know I was one of the ones who leveraged. Lower, actually, this is not a low leverage position. I think I'm at, let's see here, 25x. I went long 25x. I'm up 72% in this trade. I'm probably going to take profits soon. So I went in down here at about 85,000 when I read the news about Michael Saylor, when I saw the IMF news, when I'm looking at all these things, I said, what, and look, this is not financial advice. You don't need to do any of this stuff. This is just how I keep it interesting for me. I keep a small, very small bit of my portfolio set aside for doing these kinds of trades to see if I can, have some fun, but also play the market a little bit to keep it interesting for me. So I did a very low dollar amount. I think I only have $100 in this trade, and I'm already up 72%. So I'm up $73. Now, if I lost that $100, I wouldn't have been that mad. But I'm going to try to, once I get to 100, I'm probably going to sell 50% and let the rest run up for as long as it can. I don't know that Bitcoin will retrace below 80,000 anytime soon. My liquidation on this, if I was just to leave this trade and let it run, is around 80,000. So I might set some stop losses. Right now, I don't have any set. And if I lose all that money, I'm not going to cry. I'm looking for more big degen type up trends. Now, how do I do this? I do this through BTCC. They have lots of incentives for people right now to sign up. I have a code down below for BTCC. If you're interested in getting involved in leverage trading, I will tell you to check out the risks, read the terms of service, understand your risk before getting in, because you can lose not only your money in that trade, but your money in the total account, because unless you set stop losses properly, it doesn't have to be as risky if you set proper stop losses to understand exactly what you're going to lose on that trade. That being said, links down below. All in all, you didn't even see that last bit. All in all, I was showing this right here. Here we go. All in all, it's been a very exciting weekend, and I hope you have a great week. There's a couple macroeconomic events happening this week, But the Fed, they had their meeting last week. They don't have another meeting for a little while, so we're going to watch all the macroeconomic data to see if they're going to increase the money supply or not by, reducing their rates or reducing quantitative tightening further, which they've already done, but they haven't reduced the MBS quantitative tightening yet. So if you have any questions, comments, put them down below. Otherwise, I'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us. Talk to you soon.